I think.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 20th, and I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls City School District Board of Education. I will call the roll. Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez? I am here. Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
We have a quorum. Item B is approve the agenda. Number 1 is a motion to approve the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the agenda of the March 20th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education, adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, Treasurer, or Superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez? I will aye. Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 2 is a treasurer pro tempore. It's recommended the Board of Education elect blank as the treasurer pro tempore, serve in the treasurer's place for the March 20th, 2024 meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education. Is there a nomination?
Good. I can't hear. I'm sorry. So moved.
Is there a nomination?
I nominate Ms. Coco.
Is there a second for Ms. Coco?
I'll second.
Second.
Oh,
Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Ms. Coco?
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
aye.
Thank you, Ms. Coco. Item C is our opening ceremony. Number 1 is our informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It's not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the topic regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, they must notify the superintendent and or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel, nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. Next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is April 10th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. right here in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. And there's a Board of Education retreat, and that will be April 11th at 5 p.m. and April 12th at 8 a.m. at Neonet at 700 Graham Road in Cuyahoga Falls. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance and welcome, Mrs. Schaefer.
Please stand as you're able and join in the pledge. Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City Schools, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity. The board's strategic plan goals are as follows. School safety. We aspire to have a welcoming environment that ensures that the physical and social well-being needs of every student and staff member are met. Academic growth. We aspire to have significant growth through personalized education for all students. We aspire to improve graduation rates so that our students are prepared for employment, enrollment, or enlistment. Engagement, inclusion, and diversity. We will ensure that every student has access to the resources they need when they need it in order to be successful. Technology and systems integration. We aspire to create safe, secure, and efficient technology systems to support high-quality teaching, learning, and district operations.
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. Item D is our presentations. Up first is our Staff Star Award, and I'll invite up our Director of Human Resources, Ms. Allison Bogdan.
Good evening, everybody. Raise your hand if you're a top Tiger. Wow, congratulations. I love this night. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize a staff member. And it's a very special award because we recognize somebody that is nominated by other staff members, by their peers. And this person in particular has made a huge impact in a very short amount of time. Coming to the podium are people that are going to help me recognize this person, Ms. Julie Hall and Ms. Tracy Early, two of our principals. But the person that we're recognizing this year for our March, right? Oh yeah. Staff Shining Star is Miss Esther Harsh. She is a social worker for our district. Come on up, Esther.
In her short time with the Cuyahoga Falls City School District, it is clear that Esther Harsh has made a significant impact as a school social worker, showing compassion and dedication to students, families, and staff. Her student-first mentality and collaborative approach make her a positive role model that shines brightly in her field. Esther's commitment to splitting her time between Lincoln, Richardson, and Silver Lake shows her dedication to providing support and resources wherever they are needed most. Her whatever it takes mentality implies a willingness to go above and beyond to ensure the success and well-being of the students across different locations, showcasing a commendable level of determination and support in the education community.
In addition to her work in the school buildings, Esther devotes a significant amount of time supporting families in their homes and collaborating with outside agencies. Esther's vibrant personality and positive attitude make her a shining star in our Black Tiger community. Her perky demeanor and optimistic outlook on life have undoubtedly left a lasting impact on those around her. She radiates positivity and serves as a source of inspiration for others to follow their dreams and spread joy wherever they go. Ultimately, we are honored to work alongside this outstanding professional.
Well, first of all, thank you to my principals here and my other principals that are represented. Coming in at the middle of the year last year, that's a difficult task to take on, and new buildings and new staff coming in January. So first I want to just say thank you to my current buildings and the buildings that I worked at last year for welcoming me with open arms and also giving me a platform to do good work as a team and to work together. And I especially want to thank the social work team who share their expertise and resources as well. So thank you to those. And also, this is a great time to be in Cuyahoga Falls in the schools, and just thank you for letting me be part of it.
Our second presentation is our Top Tigers recognition. I'll invite up Dr. Celica.
You can clap. Go ahead. I'll take it. Thank you, sir.
All right, good evening. As Mr. Gomez said, I am Superintendent Andrea Celica. Wow, I love the excitement this evening. We have a packed house, we have some entertainment. I love it. All right. It's good to see everybody here, so appreciate it. I know, apologize, we have an extra large crowd this evening. There are some chairs, though. We'll try to get to you if we can. So I want to tell you a little bit just about Top Tiger. How many of you, first of all, have ever had a previous child that has received the award? Raise your hands. Couple. There's always a couple in the room. That's great. That's excellent. All right. So the Top Tiger Award, for those of you who are new to this, is an award given by our Board of Education to students each month from each building, and the students are chosen by various staff members in their schools. And I get the honor to read about each one of them this evening. So I'm going to ask students. We have lots of directions to follow. So let's see how we do. All right. So first bit of directions are going to be that I am going to call your name. You're going to come up here, and you're going to stand next to me while I get to embarrass you and read lots of nice things about you. At the same time, I believe Mrs. Schaefer is going to help me give you lots of goodies that you'll hear about in a moment. And then Mrs. Stewart, where's Mrs. Stewart? Oh, you're usually over here, trying to confuse me this evening. She's usually to my left, tonight she's to my right. She will be over here. So when you get your award, after you get your goodies, you're going to come over here and she's going to take a picture. And then afterwards, when everyone is done, we will go across the hall and get a group photo, and family members, whoever is interested, can also have an opportunity to get some pictures, but we'll do so, we'll get our picture first, and then we'll let people come in and get those photos as well, all right? So we're gonna see if you can remember all that as you come up here. I'd also like to add that we have a number of community sponsors that help really make this all possible, and all the gifts that you will receive this evening, and one of them is the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association. And the executive director, Mr. Gary Metcalf, is here this evening, as is Kathy Richards, a member of the foundation, so we just want to give her credit as well. And I'm going to ask Gary, he's going to come up and just say a few words, and then we are going to get started with our awards. Thank you, Mr. Metcalf.
Congratulations to everyone this evening, especially the Top Tigers. We'd like to thank a couple of our sponsors. Donato's Pizza will be one of the things, little gift certificate in your goodie bag. Dietz's Florist, you're going to get a beautiful carnation from them. The bag themselves was donated by Young's Printing over on Monroe Falls Avenue. And you're going to get a nice sign here, courtesy of the Cuyahoga Falls Education Association. A few things that the Schools Foundation does. We help out with school reunions. If you're having a reunion coming up, contact us and we'll assist you with it. We will march in the Memorial Day Parade wearing this beautiful t-shirt. You're going to receive this evening after you finish this award ceremony. Go across the hall and I'll give you one of these t-shirts. We award scholarships. In the last 10 years, we've awarded over $1 million worth of scholarships to our graduating seniors. We also provide teacher grants. In the last 10 years, we've awarded over $45,000 in teacher grants, which go back into the classroom to help the students. And we honor distinguished alumni every year, which all the Black Tigers are, right? And last but not least, I'd like to thank all the donate to help out, the Black Tiger alumni and friends of the schools that help us with these grants and scholarships. Thank you.
And one other thing I want to mention that you get to go home with this evening is a wonderful yard sign. You can put it in a window or in your yard. So this is what you get, students. Make your families proud in displaying that now that it's nice and, well, not so warm yet, but that we have, it won't be buried in snow, hopefully. So looking forward to that. Those are always nice to display in your yards or windows. All right. Are we ready? Ready. Well, Mrs. Schaefer's ready to go. All right. I thought maybe we would just cancel it. What do you think? What do you think? No? All right. Real scientific way in which we do this. We go by schools in alphabetical order. And we start with the elementary. So our first school will be DeWitt. All right. We are sharp this evening. We are ready to go. All right. And our first student is Emily Newland. So Emily, if you can come forward. Emily is a very special second grader at DeWitt Elementary School. Emily arrives at school each day showing great self-discipline as she gets herself organized and right to work every day. Emily is always attentive, engaged, ready to learn, and eager to participate during instruction. Emily is also always very willing to be a helper in our classroom, and she is a great helper and friend to her classmates. Academically, Emily has a wonderful ability to dig deeper into higher level thinking and does not give up when challenged. Emily also works hard to show her best behavior and strives to be a great example of Tiger Pride behavior. It has been a joy to watch Emily's confidence grow throughout the school year. And Emily, you are a top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, excellent. Our next student is Milo Sorich. Oh, whoa. All right, all right. Woo. How did you know it was you? Huh? I should have just made it pick someone else if I would have known you were on your way up. All right, Milo, we'll go with you. Ready? All right, Milo has had a great year in second grade as he shows Black Tiger pride at all times. He is respectful towards his teachers and peers. Milo is always willing to offer help to a student with their work. He has a great heart as he is also willing to support a friend who needs a hug or words of encouragement. Milo takes responsibility as he puts a great deal of effort into his school work. He is passionate about learning all that he can, especially about U.S. presidents. Nice. We're going to have to talk about that. I need some help. We are proud of the way he takes our classroom lessons and applies them to help him grow in reading, writing, and math. Milo shows leadership in helping keep our school and classroom safe. He models proper behavior and uses kind words towards others. We are looking forward to watching him learn and grow the remainder of this year and beyond. Congratulations, bud. All right, moving on to Lincoln, we have Ezekiel Culver. Kindergartner. I thought for sure you were in like at least third grade. All right. Ezekiel is an outstanding student in kindergarten. Not only does he exhibit exceptional academic skills, but he also demonstrates outstanding character. Ezekiel is a kind and compassionate friend to his classmates and is always willing to lend a helping hand. He comes to school every day with a positive attitude and a smiling face. He is a model student who embodies Black Tiger pride and encourages others to do the same. Ezekiel stays involved in the community by participating in weekly church groups, Gaelic football, and ballet and tap classes. Oh, fun. Ezekiel's honest, respectful, and trustworthy nature are among the qualities that make him worthy of earning this top Tiger honor. It has been a pleasure seeing him grow every day this year in kindergarten, and we are excited to see all the great things that he does in the future. All right, next we have Kenzie Scott. We have the big kids tonight.
You got it.
All right, Kenzie. It's been my pleasure to see Kenzie grow every day this year in kindergarten. Kenzie comes to school every day happy to be there and ready to learn. She is one of the most caring students in the classroom. She is very kind to the students in our room, and she is willing to work with any friend. Kenzie is often one of the first students to offer help to another student or teacher. She will go out of her way to stop what she is doing just to help another person. Kenzie has made much growth with her academics this year. She has worked hard to learn her letters, sounds, and sight words. Outside of school, Kenzie is very close to her family and is involved in Girl Scouts and her church. She enjoys sharing stories about her little brother, who I bet. All right, he'll like those when he gets older. She is developing into a wonderful leader in her community, and we are very excited to honor her this month. Congratulations. All right, Preston, we have 3 students this month because we had one who was unable to attend last month, and that is Evan Husk. Evan, are you here? Oh, there he is. All right, Evan is an extremely responsible student who can always be found showing kindness and respect to the adults and all the other students. Evan is a determined learner, and even when he is focused and working hard on something, he has a smile. Ms. Bittner loves how creative Evan is in art class and says he always takes his time on his projects and puts forth his very best effort. Congratulations, Evan. Good job. All right, our next student is Brooklyn Allen. Brooklyn? Brooklyn, did you even push your chair in? I thought I saw you do that. You've been still at school with those good practices, right? Yep, good girl. All right, Brooklyn is a top tiger each and every day in our classroom. She goes above and beyond to show Black Tiger pride when she is doing classwork, learning in groups, or reading independently. Brooklyn always has a smile on her face and takes the time to spread kindness to others throughout the day. She has worked so hard this year on her reading, writing, and math goals, and we are so proud of her. Way to go, Brooklyn. All right, and our last student from Preston is Giza Tomeko. Oh, there he is. Yeah, you were right there, huh? Okay. All right, Giza is an amazing student who brings his best to school each and every day. He is a very hard worker and a kind young man to all of his classmates. Each day, he can be found helping someone, whether it is in reading groups, math stations, or even at recess. Giza is a true leader, and we are so glad he is a Black Tiger. Congratulations, Giza. What? This way, honey, All right, moving along to Price, we have Alina Basnets. There we go. Alina is a talented student with a work ethic to match. She values her education and puts a tremendous amount of effort into her academic skills. She asks thought-provoking questions when we are doing interactive read-alouds. Alina notices everything, often making personal connections to the stories we are reading. She is also very resilient. Alina is often the first one on the scene when someone gets hurt at recess. She is always there for her classmates when they need a friend. Alina is also a tremendous help to her teachers. During dismissal, she often stays a few extra minutes to make sure the classroom is neat and tidy for the next day. Can you come over to my office maybe tomorrow and do it? Okay, great, thank you. All right. Whoa, one more thing. I'm sorry. I know, you were so excited to help me clean my office, I know. But one last thing. Your teacher says you are respectful and responsible, and they're so proud of you. Congratulations. All right. Next we have Chase Lentz. Chase? All right, Chase is an excellent student, classmate, and friend with an incredibly kind heart. Chase is very compassionate. He is constantly helping out others, whether that is a teacher, another student, or a friend. His ability to do the right thing without being asked never fails to impress his teachers. Chase never misses an opportunity to show his appreciation for his teachers for helping him learn. He always tries his best and works very hard. Chase deserves Top Tiger for all his kindness and his dedication to his learning. Congratulations, buddy. Right back here, honey. All righty, we're moving on to Richardson. Richardson also has 3 students this month, one from last month. And that student from last month is Benjamin Riggins. Benjamin? All right. Benjamin is a wonderful student who is kind-hearted. He arrives at school every day with a smile and a positive attitude. Ben is a role model to his peers and leads by example. He has a heart of gold and truly cares about others. Anytime a classmate needs help, he is the first person to offer. His patience and understanding makes him a great partner to peers needing assistance. We can always count on Ben to be polite and respectful. He is a true example of Black Tiger pride. When he is not at school, he enjoys running, spending time with his family, and playing video games. With Ben's kind personality and great work ethic, he will see great success in his future. So good job, buddy. All right, our next student is Mila Johnson. Mila. Mila, hi. Mila is a shining example of Black Tiger pride day in and day out. Her big heart is evident in everything she does, as Mila shows true, genuine kindness to everyone she encounters. Mila is a great friend to all and never hesitates to help a classmate or teacher in need. Mila also has an excitement for learning that is contagious, and she works incredibly hard at everything she does. Because of this, Mila has shown tremendous academic growth this school year. We are so excited to see the amazing things you will accomplish. Way to go, Mila. You're welcome. You're right here, sweetheart. Right there. All right. Our next student goes by AJ, I am told, and that is Alan Weiss, but AJ, we'll call him AJ. See here? We have someone who likes your name, AJ, and he's sitting right here. He goes by AJ too. You guys have the same name. Very hesitant, yes. Okay. AJ, oh, right here, honey, we want to see you. AJ is a caring, kind, and dependable student in our classroom community. He shares ideas during lessons and responds to what others share. He strives to understand materials and ask questions when he is unsure. The teachers aren't the only ones who notice his positive character traits. When we asked his classmates what AJ does to show Black Tiger pride, here are just a few of their ideas. He plays with everyone at recess. We play tag. He read me a book in the library. Every time we need a crayon color, he will give me one. One time he told me, "We like your shirt." Keep showing that Black Tiger pride, AJ. The Richardson community is lucky to have you. Nice, kind words. All right, and last elementary as always, Silver Lake. All right, we have Layla Johnson. Whoa. Finally, right? All right. Oh, I like your shirt. Oh, and it's got, cheerleading. Oh, nice, fancy, all right. Layla has been a very sweet girl, and she has a sweet personality, and everyone falls in love with her. Nice. You better worry about that later. It's good now, right? All right. Layla is a very kind little girl. Layla gets along with everyone because she is always respectful to other students and all adults. Layla is a Black Tiger through and through. When she arrives, she gets to work almost immediately on her seat work and always has everything ready for the day. Layla takes great pride and responsibility for her work. Everything is well done and very neat. She always goes the extra mile. Layla practices safety each day. She always walks in the hall quietly and keeps her hands to herself. This is why Layla is a top Tiger. Congratulations. Good job. All right. Our next student from Silver Lake is Jack Kowalczyk. Jack's not here this evening? Okay. All right. Well, we're proud of Jack, and we'll try to get him here at our next meeting. All right. All right, moving on to our middle schoolers. We'll start with Bolick because B comes before R, right, middle school students? I'm so smart, that's why I have this job. All right, our first student is Havana, I'm gonna get it. Havanovic. No, she's going like no. All right, come on up and tell me. All right. I'm going to show you this. Excuse me one moment. Look at what these H's. So, someone's in trouble tomorrow. All right. Just kidding. So, say your first name again. Jovana. Thank you. I always want to get those right. I apologize. Jovana's kindness, good manners, and positive attitude are known to all students and also by her guidance counselor and team of teachers. She treats everyone with respect, participates in all her classes, and is very responsible. She is willing to work with anyone with a smile on her face. But the best part about having her as a student is the warm hello she offers as she walks into our rooms and the sweet goodbye as she moves on to the next class. Congratulations. I'm sorry about that. All right, our next student is Noah Walker. Good, thank you. Got some goodies for you. All right. Noah is a student who exemplifies what it means to be a black tiger. He is a reliable, responsible student who has a strong desire to learn. Noah goes above and beyond expectations in his academics, often questioning the teacher to learn more about a subject or to gain deeper understanding. He greets his teachers and peers each day with a smile and a happy attitude. Noah is kind to all students, often offering to help those in need. We are so proud to call him a mighty tiger. Good for you. All right, we're going to move on to Roberts. And we have Samir Gazmir. Samir. Congratulations. Samir is an outstanding student and individual. He is a recent inductee to the National Junior Honor Society and is a member of the Cuyahoga Falls Soccer Club. Excellent. Samir is well liked and respected by his peers and interacts very well with members of the staff. With his strong work ethic and infectious smile, Samir has a very bright future ahead of him. Congratulations. All right, our second Roberts student is Sophia Jodan. Grade even? Are you in 8th grade? Okay. Sophia exemplifies exceptional kindness, leadership, and dedication to her learning. Sophia willingly contributes to classroom discussions and brings a positive attitude and smile to class every day. She consistently supports classmates and serves as a role model for her peers. Sophia also actively engages in extracurricular activities and is a member of band, jazz band, track, and was on the volleyball team last year. In addition, Sophia is a super talented artist and is even taking a 9th grade course, Exploration of Art, as an 8th grader. Very good. Sophia's dedication to academic excellence, combined with her kindness and respect towards peers and teachers, perfectly encapsulates the qualities of a top tiger. Congratulations. Very nice. Ooh, we're on to our high school students. We have 2 this evening. Let's see who's in attendance here. We have Genevieve Ansbach. Oh, there you are. Oh, congratulations. All right. Jen, do we go by Jen? Yes. Okay, that's what it says, just checking. All right, Jen has been such a pleasure to have as a student. It has been amazing watching her grow and mature both as a Latinist and as a person has been exceptionally rewarding. She has always been a dedicated and gifted student, and it has been very apparent as she has moved from Latin 1 to Latin 4. Wow. She is one of the last students who took Latin 1 during the 2021 school year and has made incredible strides in acquiring the knowledge she and her cohort missed out on during that year. Congratulations on all of your hard work, Jen. All right, and our last student of the evening is Ava Montoni. Montoni? Montoni. Montoni? All right. I got it right the second time. See, everybody makes mistakes. I got it right on the second attempt. You get it, right? Hey, people mispronounce my name all the time. Yeah, I've been called Dr. Seuss. Yeah, by first graders and kindergartners. No joke. Dr. Seuss. And then it's not even close to Solico, but that's all right. All right. All right. Ava, ready? All right. All right, that a girl. Ava is an amazing young lady. Her friendly demeanor and outgoing personality immediately puts others at ease. She is a successful student in the cosmetology program as well as in the band. In addition to her other challenging classes, she has taken 4 years of Spanish, 2 of which were College Credit Plus courses. She has also been an active member of the Spanish Club. She serves as a wonderful role model, not only within the classroom, with her active participation in academics, but also outside of it as well. She has a very, very bright future ahead of her. Congratulations, Emma. Whew. All right. Well, that is all of our students that we have to honor this evening. Just a couple remarks I want to say. One, I want to thank the staff members who come. I know our principals come every meeting to be here to support their students, but we have a number of teachers who are also here this evening and other staff members who have come to support the children. So I think that's very nice, and it's always great to see our staff support our students. Also want to commend all of our families that are here this evening. Again, I say this every time. It's not a coincidence that children just make their way to be Black Tigers. Our star students, and so it's a reflection of you as well. So just a little round of applause for all of you here this evening. All right, and thank you again. It was a pleasure to see all of you this evening. We will have the students, Top Tigers, if you could please start. We're going to go right out those doors and across the way in the cafeteria. We have it set up for pictures. Thank you.
How are you?
And then they drop.
Good.
So the students that are associated with the writing course, they're dropped. So
Congratulations. I didn't know. That's right. The last of the four?
elementary,
It's
4 and
wonderful to get the
5,
reward.
and then I don't know about
Very
middle
good.
school, so I'll find out. So it's a local decision how you do it. Like you could do a percentage. Let's say I'm teaching writing 20%. You're doing the other literacy is 80%. So we have 100% literacy. If we drop the kids and we don't get the 20%, then we're not getting any credit for that. So I'm going to work with this roster verification expert tomorrow morning, and then I don't know what will transfer, if anything transfers to us. I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm just not positive. Oh, a good future candidate. No, but maybe something to encourage. Yeah.
Is part of that process still assigning intervention specialists
There's that too.
part of the rosters?
Yep. So anyway, and the fact that we separate out reading and writing is highly unusual. Like most districts just do like literacy.
So, and Julie was the one that brought that up, right?
I asked it today. I don't know if she brought it up earlier.
I thought I saw somewhere in the email where she said something about dropping something, and I couldn't remember what the.
Oh, Julie sent something out? Okay. All right, well, I think that was the advice given at one time, but what we need to figure out is I need to just double check it, because again, that would just be that we got bad advice, or we just, right? It happens.
So
It's no one's fault.
That 20%, right? Could
Right.
make a huge difference.
Possibly. So we'll figure it out. I've got to just dig into it a little bit tomorrow, and then I am going to verify what I'm told tomorrow by another person, just so I get two. I don't want to just take the advice of one person.
And so, was there ever like a training sorts?
What I've noticed here, Jordan, is you don't remember this stuff time after time. It's just part of, there's too much going in us,
If you think about the elementary principals, aren't most, like half of them relatively new within the last 4
KJ on the radio.
Oh, yeah. Goodness gracious. It wasn't anything too crazy, but you know how they go.
I do.
Well, and the spring break's coming up, so we gotta get things out of the way.
That's right.
I did, so, yeah.
Don't want arguments.
But what?
Around that school.
Whatever, yeah.
Trying to get you in trouble.
I've not seen data in there.
Right.
car out.
Right.
We wanna
You can
vet
park
them out.
your car. No, no, no.
So
Here, I'll keep it
I don't have
driving.
any contact. It was brought up by one of our PBIs, but brought up.
This way.
I said, well, let's investigate it, and maybe
So
we can do a
we
plan
can
or
do a,
something.
I just have to get a data privacy agreement first, so let me dig in.
Sure,
I can
yeah, let me
a
know
little bit.
whatever you need from me. So.
We got
so,
it.
Thanks.
No problem.
Oh, that's what I told him. He's going on vacation next week.
Don't freeze on me now.
They're getting the camper and they're going through.
It was working fine until you got here.
That's
really
Well, no, I don't think so,
Great.
but I
Can you
mean,
walk over?
yeah, if he offers, I'm not gonna say no. Because he has an office in town in Medina that has a 2-car garage. He has a house that he owns and has a couple offices in it. And so he probably might store it there, but yeah, I should tell him if he does bring it over tonight, hey, this is gonna cost you next week. Because he won't be in town next week. And I store it in your house tonight. My wife is gonna laugh. I'm gonna tell her I bought it. Here tomorrow, you'll know why. I'm tired of asking every time I gotta buy something. I just on my own. Take this off. Oh, it's getting hot in here.
had to put my coat on.
It's getting hot in here.
It is getting quite toasty.
All the important
It was
people
getting a
are
little cooler, but you know.
So they opened some windows.
Did I hear correctly? You were fired today?
I kind of was.
So proud of you.
Because why was I fired? And I said, I've been wanting to be fired for a long time.
It's a special.
Put me on leave with pay.
It doesn't actually let you off the hook though.
That's the problem.
Just fires you, but doesn't mean it.
Yeah.
Kinda means it, like quarter means it.
When I was superintendent, I walk in to my assistant. She's super funny. I said, did anyone call to fire me today? She's like, no. Darn it. Because there's some days that were so bad, and you would just be like,
Yeah, I wish somebody would put me out of my
take me out of my
misery.
misery.
Kevin, have you been fired yet?
Have you been fired?
I usually get shooed away.
Shoot away. Oh, you
shoot
get
away.
shooed
I've
away.
not been shooed.
Yeah, no, she shoots me a lot.
No, I haven't been.
Oh.
You know.
And people wonder.
Kind of raising the bar.
I was really only coming to say hi, but you know, I guess I could leave.
Dressed
now.
is better than everybody else. They get shooed away when the rest of us get
Well, I don't feel so bad
I asked
actually
for a
now.
meeting with her. I told her, I said, I feel like I'm lurking around your office, like trying to get in to talk to you, so. Anyways.
That's why I love operations.
Yeah, you're like over
She
there.
wants me, she'll call me.
Yeah,
Right.
you're over
It
there.
is. You know, you could come and hang out if you wanted to. Like, get away.
Everybody who
Everyone
shows
needs a
up
place
there-
to hide.
You know what she's doing though? It's you guys will have the
Yeah,
satellite
next thing I
office.
know, I'll be in her office.
But it's
she'll be in mine,
satellite.
right?
It's not. But we're ready for March Madness, though.
And so Aaron came to me 2 days ago and he goes, boss, why didn't you tell me you were moving to the boards? Well, I'm not moving to the board. You know somebody? He goes, oh yeah. So he goes, well, we went back in last week because we were visiting that.
Oh, does she have your name
No,
somewhere?
well, we were visiting. She says, oh no, this is gonna be Joe's office here. They went back in. I had to leave for her and Aaron and someone else went back in. She goes, well, she told me this was your office. I said, oh. I said, I think it's just a satellite office. Don't worry. I thought maybe she was telling me something that she hadn't told me yet.
All I want is a window that opens, but I don't think I'm getting
The only window that opens is
So,
the one conference room.
It'll always open with a brick.
That's.
Once it's broken, they gotta replace it, and they might as well replace it with one that works.
And how my school is, how perfect it, there's nothing like an open window. at the
I
right time.
know,
There's nothing
and
like
they know I'm obsessed with my open window.
I don't
It's
even
keeping
have
me
a window.
healthy.
Where? I'm in a dungeon.
I put in a fake window in one of my offices.
Well, so what I have, I have a demo projector right
Maybe
now.
we can move you last in 2 years,
Do a
right?
fireplace, you know, in the wintertime, projected on the wall.
The electric one. I love that.
Have the
Yeah,
fake crackle through your speaker.
Please move me last. That's,
Yeah, we're gonna move.
I'm happy to stay there.
She'll be there for 2 more years.
I even said that to her. I said, well, we don't have to move that early. We can wait until they all go and then stay.
Like, I think everybody's gonna be trying to figure that out. I know the treasurer's department, that's like
That's hard.
Well, they'll probably wait till they close the year and then move, I would imagine. That would just make the most sense.
I think our folks, you know, student services, one department at a time from IT's perspective. That allows us to make sure people get phased in without any issues. But
Well, and that will be the problem with the quote, because the quote's gonna be to move everybody at one time, right? So if we have to
Well,
ask
it
them
would
to break
cost
it
a
out,
lot to have
yeah.
them keep coming
Yep,
back.
Yep.
won't cost as much as my change order.
No,
Well, nothing's
well, we hope not.
I'm probably gonna get fired tomorrow.
I thought it was Joe's change order.
Well, it's
No, I have nothing
I'm
to
the
do
one
with
who
Look at
insists.
this.
I made
He's
them.
like, absolutely not.
I
I
wanted.
have enough of my own.
I wanted to see how much it cost for them to do their job in the first place, and apparently now we know it's 170.
It's very expensive to get someone to do their job in the first place, trust me.
We don't have to do it, but if we just want to do it right, that's what it's going to cost.
No, Esther was given the extra.
That was one extra.
Yeah.
How are you?
Going, doing.
Seeing you. Good, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Good, nice seeing you. Oh, I know.
He hasn't
Like it's
seen
like
us.
high
Oh,
five.
remember?
I saw you.
For
We're
class
official.
president
So
or
that wasn't
what?
authentic, that was the politician in you. Oh, that was okay, that was real, okay.
They're all
that was-
real.
that
They're
was like
all
shooter-
real.
And then you
Every
said vote for
time.
me, you should have left that go.
It's like Shooter McGavin there. Oh, I can't make this work. I'm sad now. Quit. I quit.
I have homemade spaghetti and meatballs waiting for me at home. I know. I just want to go home and
You wanna
eat.
get out of here.
Will it work?
It should.
It didn't
Why don't you
work
test
the
it?
last time.
Try it right now.
There it is.
Yeah, but remember, it was doing that whole flippy thing. It was flipping.
I'll be your backup.
Okay.
And it's like being a piano page turner. So you just nod and I go. But just watch. You
Piano
nod.
page turner.
Do you play piano?
As much as was required to get a college degree in music.
Okay.
So no is the answer to that question. I can play 1/4, 1/5.
I always had to pay when the girls went to contests with oboe
Yeah.
and French
Yeah.
horn. There was a lady in Cleveland, right by Rocky River there. Oh, beautiful. One of those beautiful old homes. It was
Yeah.
just stunning.
I can play 1/4, 1/5, and 1 in all major keys. That's about it.
That's wonderful, though. I wish I could do that.
Got a piano. When my son was younger from the school that was closed.
Yeah.
And it was a great thought at the beginning, and he played it, you know, he went to keyboard and everything, but trying to get rid of that thing, like I almost had to pay somebody to take it.
Kenneth, we advertised our home and a piano for sale. Like, you will take the piano. We are not.
We are leaving it.
The house is for sale with the piano.
Yeah, the only thing that was worse was the pool table, because we put it in the basement.
They're heavy, those slates are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and they break easy if you drop them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're gonna do. I left it at my.
I was glad I got
Okay,
football, though,
we are
'cause I
back,
like football and I
And we
got
are ready for
gymnastics.
presentation number 3, literacy update, local reading plan. I'll invite up Mrs. Jody Hausman to get us started.
Thank you, President Gomez, Vice President Coco, board members, Dr. Selico, community, and colleagues. Allow me to introduce, we have Ms. Julie Dudones with us tonight, Ms. Crystal Carnan, Ms. Tina Mages, and Ms. Amanda Heller. They are our literacy specialists. So thank you for coming this evening, everyone. So we're going to get started here with Ms. Dudones.
Good evening. As Mrs. Hausman said, thank you for having us here tonight. We wanted to start with just a little bit of background. So research has been going on for years regarding the best practice for literacy. So in 2000, the National Reading Panel discovered that there were just some specific strategies that were better, they were more effective for teaching children than others. And they have based those on these 5 blocks: comprehension, vocabulary fluency, phonics, and phonemic awareness. They found that those were the most effective categories for us to follow, and phonemic awareness is one area that is key to their research. So you have shared with you a reading improvement plan. There are two types of plans that could be required by the state. One is the reading improvement plan. That's what we're on. Our grade 3 ELA performance on the state test was 73% last year. And so because we fall beneath that 80% threshold, that's why we are required to do this. Just a little bit of background. So back in 2019, before the pandemic, we were at 69%. As you recall, in 2020, we didn't test. In 2021, we were at 61%, so we had dropped quite a bit. 2022, we were back up to 68, and then at 73, and we're even more hopeful with all the work that's being shared tonight that we will be even higher this year. The reading achievement plan, we are not required to do because it is based on the criteria here, which is for 2 consecutive years, the district or school would have to have less than 3 stars for early literacy, and 51% or less of the district or school students would have scored proficient. So in other words, not even half of the students would have scored proficient. So we're not in that category yet, which we're happy to say. And we hope we will be going the other direction, and then we won't have to worry about it.
I just want to make a note. We have extra copies of the reading
thank
achievement
you.
plan
Yes.
here if anyone would like one. They're right here if anyone wants to grab one.
Thank you. So our reading plan goals, we decided to do 2 very robust goals instead of many goals. And so the one is regarding the science of reading strategies. And we know 100% is a lofty goal, but we could not put a goal that doesn't include all, right? So we felt it was important that we continue to work towards 100%. And then our measurement is based on the ELA proficiency as measured by the Ohio State test. And then again, with our Tier 1 standards-based instruction, which is a big part of what we do in literacy, is our performance index reaches 90 percentile points.
Is there any negative if, since we're submitting this plan to the state, is there anything that they hit us with if we don't achieve the goals that we send them?
Yep, so this is a local plan and we are not required to send it to the state.
Okay.
So it's only for the local Board of Education to approve it, and then for us, it's for us to work on the action steps in the plan, report back to you annually how we're doing on that, and then the achievement plan requires, I think, that we have to submit to the state. But I can clarify if I got that wrong, so.
You're correct, that's in the
Okay,
previous slides.
okay, very good. Other questions? So the why behind, meaning like the root causes and maybe why we're focusing on literacy still, we know about the pandemic, but I didn't want to include that in there because, you know, there's other things that might be contributing factors. There was an audit done in 2019, and that's included in the plan about standards alignment. And so it was found that not all standards were being aligned effectively. And so what came out of that audit is that more professional development is needed, and we've started down that journey this year. So we're excited that that research is informing us today. We also know that the science of reading research was in Hegarty and Foundations, and so we bought that the last few years, but we're focusing on the other part of the core curriculum, so that kind of supports language comprehension. And then the professional learning model is we're trying to do a very deep learning, and like, for example, this year we did small group literacy instruction the whole year for our elementary teachers. We didn't deviate from that model, and so the same thing with teacher clarity, trying to stay and develop that Tier 1 model. And then our data metrics changed. So under the law, we had to choose a dyslexia screener, which is Acadians. And so that screener gives us a lot more information, and then it leads us to more diagnostic assessments, which are new, again, that we're starting this year. So we might know a child may not be like a healthy reader, they're a struggling reader, but why? It's like your blood pressure check. I have high blood pressure, but why do I have high blood pressure? So the diagnostic assessments helps us kind of fine tune what that is. And that's new this year. Okay, science of reading.
So you have seen this slide that looks like this before. This is Scarborough's reading rope, and I know that Dr. Cruz and Dr. Seifert had shared this previously. Our literacy specialists have presented, because this was part of our basis for our previous literacy work. And the reading rope basically is divided into the two main categories of language comprehension and then word recognition, and then it defines for us what makes that up. So language comprehension includes background knowledge, vocabulary, language structure, verbal reasoning, and literacy knowledge. And then the word recognition includes phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. And you might remember we previously shared a chart with you that showed that if you were missing either parts from language comprehension or word recognition, it like showed this times 0 would equal 0. So if a student is missing one of those key components, we know that their overall comprehension is poor and that they don't become skilled readers. So that's why we're addressing so many different things. It does have a mind of its own. Clicker. And then these are just the basics of the science of reading. So it looks like 2 slides that I've already shown you, but basically there are just so many pieces to it. But some people think that science of reading is actually a curriculum, and it's not a curriculum in itself. You couldn't go to a company and purchase, quote, the science of reading. But it's following those 5 big ideas that were on the first slide: the phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. And then basically it just reminds you on the red side of what it isn't. We don't want just drill-based phonics programs. We don't want to use that 3 cueing system and things like that. So definitely we are researching as we're looking at our new adoption to make sure that we have what we need and then that we get what we're missing.
So here's some examples. Obviously, it's not an exhaustive list for Goal 1. So we'll have the asynchronous state design mandated modules that have come out for teachers in 4 through 12. We'll be putting out a plan after spring break to share with our staff. Ms. Seaman and I and Ms. Bogdan, we've been looking at schedules and how to staff and how to have equitable instructional minutes, co-teaching model, how to identify title services. We're also looking at Foundations has checklists, Hegarty has unit assessments, so how we can use that data beyond Acadians and the diagnostic data and use that effectively, so we have multiple metrics. Our intervention specialists have been attending Wilson training, and there is a letters training expected in the fall, so we maybe will have a first followers group there, which would be exciting. And then also, just to ensure the board has invested a lot into curriculum in the last few years, so we want to make sure that we're using that with fidelity in our classrooms. And then some metrics again are that, we'll be able to demonstrate that everyone's trained in science of reading. We can also show that we're hitting those reading proficiency benchmarks in Acadians, that we do have curriculum-based assessments, and so we can start rolling those out and start having that put into our pacing guides that we'll be building. And then also that we know that we, of course, want our older students to be meeting their expectation, because the RIMP plan is following children to the next grade level. It used to stop at grade 3. It was added grade 4. Next year will be grade 5. So we expect that to go all through the secondary. So we're writing the plan, so it will grow into what we expect things to change with the state. Sorry. And then goal 2, some examples. Thank you so much for supporting our building leadership teams and our teacher-based teams. That's really important for us with our teacher clarity work. That also helps with planning our lessons, creating assessments, looking at data. Next year, we hope to begin.
What are goal 1 and goal 2?
Oh, I'm sorry. Goal 1 and goal 2 is back. Yep, it was on the slide. The reading plan goals, I'm sorry. So the first one was about science of reading, and the second one was about standards-based instruction. I should have connected those for you. So this one is about the standards-based instruction goal.
The top one is on the the reading plan goals. The top one is goal 1, obviously goal 2.
Yep. And next year, we plan to implement literacy high yield strategies that we'll practice across all the buildings. So we'll work with our teacher leaders and the DLT steering committee to start introducing specific strategies. And then again, the metrics that were mentioned earlier. And then, this is what we're working on currently. So we're really proud of the progress we've made this year. So on the left side is more foundational resources, on the right side is professional development. So I guess on the left side, what I would highlight to you is Ms. Parnin has done a great job helping us with our high dosage tutoring program. We're really proud that we are doing a virtual type of tutoring program with our teachers. We never thought we could serve as many children as we are, and so our innovation, I think, is helping us to lead the charge there. We have a data dashboard that kind of integrates all of the data, so I can come back and show that to you someday if you want. It's really cool, and so a lot of districts in Cuyahoga County have started using this the last few years, and so Mindy Geschke is one of the people that help us with that. And I would say our data days, you're going to hear a little bit more about that soon. So those are really wonderful resources. And then our professional development, we've had foundations training, in-person coaching, and virtual opportunities, and that's been well received. We've been teaching vocabulary routines in our professional learning. And then also we did an administrative literacy look for. So our administrators are also part of this journey with us. Okay, Ms. Majors?
So one of the things we wanted to highlight that we've been working diligently on this year is Acadians. We did have it last year. It was just beginning to come around, and our literacy specialists worked with it, some of the teachers, but this year was really a team approach to what we were doing. Acadians, and this is from them, is a fluency assessment that measures essential early learning and reading skills that support and empower educators to have competence and confidence in using data to make a difference in improving reading outcomes for students, teachers, and schools. Hence how they came up with the name Acadians, using those terms. It is a part of an effective school-wide literacy system, and there are 3 benchmarks for the year. So they have a beginning, middle, and end of the year benchmark, and in between we do some progress monitoring. This year, that has been a team approach. We have everyone from classroom teachers to intervention specialists, Title I staff, English, EL staff, literacy specialists, school psychologists. Everybody has participated in this across the buildings that I think has really brought us to where we are. So this chart shows us here just each of the skills that are assessed and how that connects to the science of reading, as you saw in that rope. So the first sound fluency and our phonemic segmentation fluency are a part of our phonemic awareness assessments. Letter naming fluency is just an indicator. They don't really tie it to anything, but we know research has told us that letter naming fluency is really important in the beginning stages of reading. It's a great indicator there. And then phonics and advanced phonics through nonsense word fluency and oral reading fluency, and then it leads us into our comprehension assessments for oral reading fluency and our maze assessment, which we'll talk about here in a second. So I just kind of broke it down by grade level and what's assessed, just to kind of explain what we're looking for at each grade level. So first sound fluency is when we isolate that very first sound of a word. If we have the word bat, we're isolating the B sound, and that is something that's assessed at the very beginning of kindergarten and throughout kindergarten. Phonemic segmentation kind of follows that. That's the next sequence of skills. If they can isolate the first sound, can they break the entire word apart? So if, again, going back to that word bat, b, at, they're breaking that apart. That, again, goes back to our phonemic awareness, and that is assessed in kindergarten and in first grade. Letter naming fluency is also assessed in kindergarten and first grade, and then nonsense word fluency. So they give them 3 sounds, and they have to sound that word out. And it gets progressively more challenging. At the beginning, they're just looking for the correct letter sounds. At the beginning of second grade, when they're assessed, they want them to blend that word and read it as a full word fluently. So they wouldn't say l-ut, they would say lut. And it's amazing to see how automatic those words become, especially because they can't recognize them. They're nonsense words. So it's a really good gauge on what they're able to tell us. Then moves into oral reading fluency that starts in the middle of first grade and goes through fifth grade. And when they do that, during the benchmark, they have 3 passages to read. And then after they read the passage, they are asked to retell the passage. So really what we're looking for is for students to give us the main idea of that passage and as many details sequentially as they can from the story. And then the last assessment we have here is our maze assessment, which is considered a close reading assessment, where they take the word out and they have to choose a word that fits in it correctly. So using all of that data has helped us track where students are going and monitor their progress to make sure that they're on track to grow and end up where we want them to be.
Ms. Hausman, I have a question about this, and we're monitoring progress and Acadians and all of that, and a lot of our families just got their third quarter report cards, and our elementary report carding is a little bit to be desired, because like especially the third quarter, I had a parent share with me, you know, every time they get Acadians results, their student is doing very well everywhere they want to be, or even better. But then they got their third quarter report card, and their student was marked in reading as limited progress. But then the Acadians is showing that they're well above. So how are we working to integrate this? Because maybe we didn't do Acadians testing. I don't know when we do it exactly. Maybe we didn't do it in the third quarter. But that parent saying, my guess is based on past results, the next time they do it, my student's probably going to do great. So what am I supposed to do with this? I don't want to talk to my child, and because every Acadians thing that I get says they're doing great, and I don't want to make them feel. But if there is something, how do we balance all these different benchmarks? How do we work
thank
on
you, because
these?
I feel like you're foreshadowing what's on my whiteboard. And what's on my whiteboard is the elementary report card. Because one of the things that we do need to align is how we're communicating with parents, how we're assessing students in reading, and to make sure that it all lines up. And I agree with you, the report card maybe isn't giving them enough information that understands what went into that grade. Now, the concern sometimes when you redo a report card is it becomes the size of the refrigerator, and we're trying to put too much information into it. But one of the things that we can continue to do is sharing more about our progress monitoring data and other data that we're going. In the new program that will be going through the adoption with literacy, we expect there's probably going to be a more robust online platform with that. And I think that's going to also help communicate grading and expectations for students. So hopefully we see more alignment. But I appreciate that parents' comments, because we honor and hear what they're saying.
And that's not a criticism of our educators either.
No,
because
not at all.
We're forcing them to give grades 4 times a year as well. So they have to
Correct.
sit down and
Yeah.
they have to give some sort of
No,
assessment
the teachers
as
are
well.
asking us
And
to
maybe
redo
we
the
didn't
report
ask
card.
them
This
to
is
do
a
Acadians
teacher-driven
in the third
request.
quarter. So they're trying to figure
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
what they're supposed to assess based on, because we are asking them to look more at this, but maybe we didn't do Acadians in the third quarter. So they're saying, well, what am I supposed to be assessing? So
Right.
I don't want it to
the
be
benchmarks
a
in the
criticism
fall
of
and
them either.
January and May, but we do have progress monitoring reports if a child is below benchmark. But in this case, that child probably is not, so they're not maybe even being progress monitored because it's not needed. So we'll have groups of teachers next year to kind of help drive those conversations, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ms. Hannah.
All right, so I am one of the 3 literacy specialists who work within the district, and our roles have evolved slightly over the last couple years. So we really want to touch on the 3 main things that we do to help keep our teachers with the times, keeping up with the most recent strategies, and then also giving them the support that they need to support their students. So I'd like to start with coaching. So we as literacy specialists are also literacy coaches. We offer different services to our teachers. So our teachers can elect to enroll in a mini cycle or a full coaching cycle. So a mini coaching cycle is a little bit different than a full because it's a shorter period of time, and a teacher can ask us for assistance with a skill maybe that they would like some additional support in. And it usually lasts a couple weeks. We work together, we plan together, we'll go into the classroom and co-teach with them. And then we also have a full coaching cycle. A full coaching cycle usually lasts about 6 to 8 weeks. We have a pre-meeting, a post-meeting, and we look at data at the beginning, co-teach throughout, brainstorm and meet, talk about what's going well, what we need to change, and we look at the post data and reflect to see if our strategy was successful. So that is what we're trying to implement this year. And then we also offer informal coaching as well. So if you're teaching instructional strategy in the class and you feel like your kiddos aren't just getting it, a lot of times the teachers will pop down and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Is there something you could suggest? And then we will find resources and communicate with each other to see if there's something that we can do to further support our teachers. One of the examples this year is really with Foundations. Foundations was just brought in this year for 3rd grade. And phonics is something that's rather new for 3rd grade teachers, so they were feeling really anxious about it. And so what we did is we devoted a lot of our time to going into those 3rd grade classrooms and modeling Foundations. We like to incorporate the I do, we do, you do model. So we started off by giving them demonstrations, and then we went over to the co-teaching model. And now we're kind of at the point where we're stepping back and letting the teachers take the reign, and then we'll just support them as they need. And now they're feeling a lot more successful and confident in what they're doing, and so now they can be released on their own. So that is one of the things we really focused on this year. But teachers have different options, so they can come to us based on their needs and what they think will be most helpful for them. The second thing we do is we actually provide a lot of professional development. So between the 3 of us, each of us are working within 2 buildings, and we try to tailor our professional development to our building and our teachers' needs. Just like students, teachers' needs are not all the same across the board. So we try to figure out what it is they need assistance in, and then we offer 20-minute what we call speed learning sessions in the morning, where teachers can come. It's an optional professional development, and we go over strategies and suggestions. We have a little discussion, and then they go about their day. And so we really like to tailor them and make them personal, so then they can feel comfortable coming, and it's keep an open door policy where they feel comfortable telling us what their problems are, and we just try to help them problem solve together. We found that's really successful, and in speaking with the other 2 literacy specialists, it is amazing to see how different the buildings are and what the teachers need. And so I think that just goes to show that they are really coming to us and looking for us for that help, which is really nice to see. We feel like we've done a good job of opening up those doors. One of the other things we've done is we're also collaborating with our education service specialist, Alyssa Byrne. We work with her pretty frequently, and yesterday we just kind of finished up our small group series of instruction, and she was also using the I do, we do, you do model as well. So the 3 of us led the morning part of the session. And so she is also guiding us as well with the latest strategies and whatnot. So then we're all providing a unified front and making sure our teachers are getting what they need to be successful. More recently, though, we also had some teachers from Talmadge come over. They came and watched our title teacher at Silver Lake use one of our intervention programs. So we had 6 teachers come in, we held a little forum for the day, we had a little debriefing, and they thought it was really nice to see our teachers in action, and it gave us a chance to talk to Talmadge and see what they're doing, so we're trying to make connections as well. We don't want to limit our professional development to just our individual buildings. We really want to make it available for all and open up communication through other districts as well. So I thought that was really nice. And then lastly, we are trying to make sure our teachers get as much information as they need. We don't want them to have to go and search the internet for strategies and tools to use. And one of the things we did is we created this literacy website. And so then on there, every time we're providing professional development, if there's a piece of information that we really want our teachers to have at the touch of their fingertips, we're uploading it so then they can quickly access it. So some of the things that are on there are just like instructional strategies the teachers can use. There's video clips from high yield instructional strategies, and then just other professional resources. So it'll help the teachers to find their information a little bit quicker. And I think that's it.
Hi, everyone. So we are going to talk about our data days next. Those were what you mentioned, or I'm sorry, Ms. Hausman mentioned earlier to you. So we spent this year kind of refining how we talk about data. And we focused on our Acadience data this year. So like what was previously said, we get our Acadience benchmark data 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. So we do that in August to early September, January, and then end of the year is May for us. So our data days occur after our Acadience benchmarks so that we can guide our teachers through understanding what that data means and what to do with it. So really we're promoting that collective teacher efficacy with that, right? That belief that together we can make a positive impact for our student learning. So this slide kind of just walks you through what that process looks like. So we start by setting up for a focused discussion. We create an agenda that changes as the year goes on because we're having different conversations at different parts of the year. So this is just an example of our middle of the year agenda that we just had. And it's kind of like a 4-step process of reviewing the data, reflecting on what the data is telling us, what it's not telling us, and creating an action plan for what we need to do next to best support our students. Then we have our meetings. That's our collaboration and our discussion. So we're centering our meetings around the idea that we all play a crucial role in every child's success in learning. So when we are deciding who is included in attending these meetings, it's not just grade level teams. It's administrators, it's the literacy specialist, it's the K-5 literacy teachers, Title I teachers, IS, EL teachers, everyone who interacts with those students. So again, when we're thinking about collective teacher efficacy, that's what we mean when we say that word collective. It's the power in groups of teachers versus an individual teacher. So those are the people who attend our data days. We have them from a span of 40 minutes to 70 minutes. Sometimes they do have to take place during their planning and curriculum time, but we have been utilizing rolling building subs to then have longer sessions with them and really dive deeper into understanding our data and moving forward with it. So for this middle of the year benchmark that we did for Acadience, we decided to make collective commitments and set goals and intentions for the end of the year. So I just included an example from one of my buildings. We set grade level commitments as well as individual teachers because we know that every class is different, so everyone has a different need. And we kept the focus on Tier 1 instruction. So we had teachers go through, find those points of data in the Acadience that they really needed to focus on instructionally to help their students succeed. And then we provided these teachers with resources and instructional strategies to then bring back in that classroom and use with their students. So I made these collective commitments. It's just a piece of paper, right? But we make sure that we share this piece of paper again and again and again with our teachers. We talk about it like the first 5 minutes of those teacher-based team meetings that they have. And we, as literacy specialists, make sure that we're providing check-ins and supporting our teachers along the way. So for example, that little snippet that you see of the writing, that's from a 4th grade classroom. Their goal was to focus on their main idea or gist and focus on summarizing. So when I checked in with the teacher, she was so excited to tell me, like, look at that back wall. We've done it with this story and this story and this story, and you can see how much better my students are getting along the way. So we have some discussions, and there's a kind of an accountability piece to that with all of our teachers.
So finally, as you know, we are going to be looking towards a new adoption of some sort. We're hopeful that we'll be able to continue using Foundations, Integrity, and Acadience to do all the things that we're doing. But these are the things that we need to consider as we're looking forward. You'll notice the language is very similar to that Scarborough's wrote. And the strategies that the literacy specialists have been sharing and Mrs. Bird has been sharing are helping our teachers with these things. So background knowledge. We want to make sure that when students are reading, that we are doing things to help activate their background knowledge and be able to then assess their understanding based on that. Building that through using different complex text. Sometimes that's a picture, sometimes it's an example, sometimes it's that, the model, the I do, we do, you do. The complex text. We want students, they need to have that stamina. I know I've heard Mrs. White talk about this. We need them reading more complex text. We want more than 50% of our text to be nonfiction. Nonfiction tends to include more complex vocabulary, and it's a really good way to help students build those other strategies. Figurative language, we need them to understand that as well. When they hear in speaking on television, in movies, that sort of thing, we all use figurative language, but we need them to be able to understand it both when they see it and when they read it. And then, again, all of those are tier 1 things. We want every student to be able to do those things. And then in tiers 2 and 3, for our vocabulary, we just need to make sure that we are working on the things. One of the strategies that we worked on yesterday with our 3, 4, 5 people was how do you determine which words you need to teach? When you get, as a teacher, when you get a Basil or a reading textbook, or even with Fontes and Pinnell, it has the cards, and it tells you, like, whatever, these are the 5 vocabulary words to teach. But sometimes it's just words that are new to the students. And they're not necessarily crucial to the meaning. So part of the work we did yesterday that will then be continued is which words the students have to know to be able to understand what's in the story, compared to, well, maybe we need to teach them roots and prefixes and suffixes that will help them understand other words, but maybe they're not crucial to the story. So we started looking at that with them yesterday. And then language structures. We need them to understand how writing is organized. Fiction is different than nonfiction. A fiction story typically has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's very clear. Nonfiction, if they're reading an article, it's probably set up like that. Books, sometimes nonfiction books are set up like that, and sometimes there's not necessarily like a clear conclusion. It's just kind of the end of the information that they're sharing. But we want students to learn we talked about retelling. That's just telling, but they also need to learn how to summarize. I've read this, I can now tell you the main idea without telling you every single idea. And if you've talked with a kindergartner, they're really good at retelling what happened today at recess, and they can tell you every single detail. If you ask them for a summary, they might not be able to say, well, we played jump rope when we went on the seesaw or whatever. Well, I guess kids don't do seesaws today, but you get the idea. I'm aging myself. We need them to be able to make logical inferences. We have found over the years that inferencing is not a strength of our particular students in Cuyahoga Falls on those state tests. So they need to read it and read between the lines, and that comes from building that background knowledge and that practice with the complex text. And then the strategic use of words and phrases. How does the author use these? And then additionally, we are working on building a writing protocol because our teachers are feeling kind of at a loss. Journeys didn't have a great writing protocol. Fontes and Pinnell doesn't have it, so we know that we really need to help build that. We've got teachers, we've done the writing rope, professional development. We have teachers interested in doing that and that sort of thing. So we know that these are all things we need to include either within our new adoption or, might be piecing some things together. Maybe the writing is a little bit separate from the new adoption, but we know we still need to provide it. So, thank you.
Any other questions before we?
You started to touch on it a little bit, and I want to beat Ms. White to the question.
Okay.
But can you talk a little bit more about the writing piece in general? And then secondly, my question is, at the elementary level, because I've never asked this before, I'm interested, when do we shift more from the focus on handwriting to writing? When do we make that shift? Because I don't know the answer to that, and I was sitting here thinking about that.
So when you say handwriting to writing, are you saying
Like the focus on like
the
handwriting,
manuscript,
the
printing and manuscript?
learning how to print nicely. Like we're
Very
working
good.
on our
Yep.
handwriting.
So,
to actually like now we're writing. We're trying to like learn how to form a
yes,
sentence.
cursive writing, great. So they start right away in learning how to start composing sentences. So they're composing sentences in kindergarten. And then they're building on how to write all through, it's in Foundations, Hegarty is not, they're listening in Hegarty, Foundations has that, and then of course our new core program, this is gonna be one of the things we're gonna look for a strength in. When it comes to handwriting, I had a board member that I would share when it was National Cursive Day, because he just loved to talk about, and I taught cursive. So they learn through Foundations again, it's integrated into Foundations, how to print, and then they start transitioning to cursive in 3rd grade, right? It's 3rd grade. It used to be 2nd. So that's kind of changed a little bit. And cursive looks very different today than how I learned it. So the cues, like all of that. So if anyone observes my cursive writing, it does not even look like how we teach it today. And then the writing piece is, we wanted again to build a collective commitment and understanding to writing K-12. And so every program is going to have pieces and parts to writing, but they are coming out with new research through Writing Revolution that is now teaching how to not just build stamina, but one of the things they learned yesterday was a kernel sentence, like a popcorn kernel. So the dog ran, then we teach the children all the W questions and how to take that simple question and expand it. And then we take that to paragraphs, and then we need to go beyond a paragraph and go into multiple paragraph writing so that we're developing deeper thoughts and having better analysis of things. And so part of next year's plan is to layer in writing K-12. Our elementary has been kind of leading the charge with some of those things this year. So we're trying to build a sustainable Tier 1 model, knowing though that we have to kind of intervene and support. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, I
did
appreciate that.
okay.
We're gonna vote on some of that
Okay.
writing stuff later,
Yeah,
but
I
we're
had-
excited about that, but.
If I may add to that.
I was very excited.
If you remember in the HMH, for the middle school and high school, you approved for writable, which is a separate writing
Yes.
component. And I actually just met with our rep today, and she was showing me like how many teachers are using it and where
Good.
students are, and the growth from like beginning of the year to the middle of the year assessment. Like I was so excited, but they are using that. It took them a little while because everything was so new from coming up with your own curriculum for 20 years. But now that they have this, they are really, full steam ahead. And so that's helping, and that starts at grade 6. So with this work in the elementary and then building up, that's an awesome deal.
And we wrote the reading plan, a very robust plan, because we also want to use it if there's ever future grants that we can dovetail in, because this model helps us kind of build from it. It also helps with our One Needs assessment that Mr. Elder is also working with the principals, so we're trying to kind of layer in consistency, continuity to what we're doing.
Yeah, I had pulled that out of the packet.
Yay, okay.
It's something that I've been asking for a long time.
Good.
And Julie knows this. The writing across, the curriculum and throughout the grades.
Yeah.
And this just was so impressive. I'm just very impressed and love it. So thank you for that. I
You
appreciate
bet.
that, because it is something that I've been trying to push. So I hope this doesn't only affect ELA, but will carry into
That's right.
social studies, science, and so on. So, very good.
And just a shout out to our literacy specialists. They are just a talented group of ladies. They are leaders in their own right. And they built such amazing relationships with our teachers. They trust them, they lean on them, they ask hard questions to them, and they never fail at what they do. So thank you for allowing me to invite them here and to kind of show off what our amazing staff, our teachers do. And of course, Ms. Dudones is always by my side, running circles around me. So we appreciate her as well. Thank
Do we
you.
have more questions? I have one more question. Sorry, I was talking to Dr. Selko. The inferencing, I know you've mentioned the inferencing before, Mrs. Dudon, but I would lean over to Dr. Selko and I I wonder if there's any link to that and economically disadvantaged students, because when you think about like the Bridges training, and you learn about how life can, in economically disadvantaged situations, can be so black and white. I wonder if there's some link between inferencing not being a strength in our students and our economically disadvantaged numbers.
Absolutely, and if you, the slide right before here, when we were talking about background knowledge,
Yeah.
the more we do our DEIB work and people really understand that not every student has been to the zoo, not every student has been to an airport, not every student has been, things that show up in their little tiny books that they're reading. If the teachers don't understand that, then they're not building the background knowledge, which then, if you can't understand the text, you certainly can't make inferences. So you're absolutely right. And so, that's another reason we're trying to be more equitable with field trips and things like that between the 6 buildings. We've been talking about that this year because we want students to have these different experiences. So yes, you're right. You're right on target.
Thank you all, we really
I
appreciate your
told,
time.
I told the ladies to head on home to their
Of
families.
course,
so-
we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Now I pulled that right out. Back in. I'm like, yay.
Item E is the treasurer's CFO's business consent agenda. In her absence, I will read her recommendations. It's recommended the Board of Education approves all items listed in the treasurer CFO's business consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. She did share some information with us that she would normally share at this time, so just in the interest of being fully transparent with our community, I will share that out on the record. In the amended appropriations, there's an increase in the per pupil grant funding for Fund 451, which caused an increase to appropriations. And due to the property revaluation, there's also an increase to the general fund in order to be more in line with our certificate of estimated resources. This will also ensure we are covered through the end of the year in the event of any emergencies. Please call the roll, Ms. Coco.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye.
Item F is Treasurer CFO's business, the financial transaction report. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the 2024 February investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? On this one item, our treasurer shared, interest for February was very good and in line with prior month numbers. And the general fund ended with approximately 13 million, which she notes is 10 million under last year at this time, but that is strictly due to the timing of when we have received our real estate tax advances. Last year, we received the majority of the advance in February, and this year it was in March. Should note that our other financial reports were fairly status quo for this time of year, nothing major of note.
Great.
Anything else? Okay, please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer? Aye. Ms. Coco? Aye.
Brings us to item G, Superintendent CO's business consent agenda. Dr. Selko.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Dr. Selko?
Yeah, it's probably my busiest agenda of the year. I think this whole time I've been here. Just several things here to note. For personnel, we have a couple of retirements. So Miss Beck at Silver Lake, we have Miss Cleary, who's our French teacher, and we have Miss Willard, who's a paraprofessional at Lincoln. So want to wish them well and thank you for their years of service. You'll see on there our summer school, we did make some decisions relative to elementary, so that is reflected there, and Mrs. Brown for her assignment as the summer school principal. We are happy to announce we have two new bus drivers, so very excited about that. You also will see a number of service contracts related to the ESC for preschool. The ESC in general is contracting with them, and then a number of our staffing decisions that we make through the ESC. So those are just all the service agreements, no substantive changes. The only changes really to note are a couple staff that we have contracted before. We're just changing the hours for some of them, but we're still working on what those exactly will be. You're signing the contract when the actual particulars of it aren't necessarily approved by the board. The other contract we know for Deborah Wright for our board retreats. We also have our quote for the Envision Math, which Mrs. Hausman had explained last meeting. The Project Lead the Way, I know she spoke to you about that as well, and that again is just kind of exploring our STEM and career exploration classes related to STEM at our middle school. So I've had some experience with that at the high school level, but it is something that I think our students will benefit from. And then some of the proposals we were talking about, right, as it relates to writing, and that is for our honors writing and related to the gifted, as well as our new service model, and also the notion of, and Mrs. White would be very excited about, the writing across the curriculum and really training all of our teachers in how to become better teachers of writing, as well as students becoming better writers in and of themselves. So that's an investment in our professional development and in our teachers. And a couple of special education contracts that you're used to seeing there related to students in particular. And then an impracticality of transportation. Again, we don't see those often, but we do have one there. And then we have the addenda for the Akron Children's Hospital, and again, that is for our field trip for the Washington DC trip in case there are any medical needs. And there is a contract there as well for our continuing our work with Mindy Geschke with the data work that they've been doing. So as you can see, we are making some really big strides here, and we would appreciate your support in continuing our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? I had a couple. I wanted to note the Envision contract. We're very excited to refresh our math program. Don't know if we got any feedback from parents, but my nephews did comment that they hoped that there would be new robots if we were getting new math books, because they note that there's this like little cartoon robots in the books, and that's the one thing that they noted. So I told them
Real actual robots?
it's little cartoon robots, and so they hoped that if they were getting new math books, there would be new cartoon robots. So that was the student feedback I received. I'm very excited to continue our gifted work. Our families have been giving us a lot of phenomenal feedback about that. It's making a difference. And then just to say a little bit more about this literacy consulting contract that I know we're all really excited about. Some of the topics are like writing correctly versus having ideas, setting up writing units based on genre, process versus product, drafting, revising, editing. What does that mean for each grade level? Setting out the year in writing, the 30,000-foot overview with a curriculum map. This is exciting stuff. You're gonna have to hide the address from Ms. White because she's gonna want to come to this. I would want to come to that. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, it
So I
does.
know we're all very thrilled. No more than Ms. White, but we're all really excited about it and appreciative of it. And then I wanted to comment and thank Mr. Elder for his work on the Akron Children's Hospital piece so that a student can attend that field trip. And I think it really speaks to what we say, every student, every day, every opportunity, the work that went into making sure that we would have nursing coverage so that a student could attend that field trip is very important. So thank you for that. Okay. If there's nothing further, then you can call the roll, Ms. Coco.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. Coco, aye. Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Thank you. Item H is Superintendent CO's Business. Dr. Selko, your comments.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a couple things. Logistically, Art Sparks tomorrow is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. But if you're unable to make that, they're also going to be performing at 12:45. So if you'd like to stop by, you're more than welcome to do so. And I guess we're really excited to see Mrs. Stewart's narrating. So she's been giving me the lowdown on it, and so we're excited to see our students perform in that. We have obviously spring break coming up here soon, and lastly, I just want to mention a couple related things that we have talked about several times this evening, but just want to really give a shout out to the team this evening, one, for their presentation. I know the reading teachers have, literacy teachers have left, our coaches, but just the good work that they are doing, and I hope that the board sees the movement that we've been making, particularly as it relates to our curriculum and instruction, teaching and learning. We really have made a lot of progress. I'm really proud of the work that they've done, especially relative to this reading plan, which is, as you see, 25 pages, and that's no easy feat to take that on, and they've done more than they were required to do, so I applaud their efforts there. And our work also with our gifted work there, we had a gifted parent meeting last night, and we had over 165 parents attend. I haven't seen that turn out in
That's great. That is.
a long time, or for anything, frankly, other than our performances, which is always wonderful, but that parents were really engaged and really grateful for that opportunity. So again, great work out of Mrs. Hausman's department. So I just want to, again, just applaud all of their efforts. So that's it. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you. Item I is board business. Number 1 is a request to address the board. And before I bring up the person, do you have, okay. We have one person signed up to address the board, Ms. Jessica Collins. If you want to come up to the podium, and then says you have to say your name and address. We have your address on file, so I always give people the option if you don't want to say your address out loud if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But then you do have to say your name. The timer is there, and then you have 3 minutes to say whatever you would like to share with us.
Yeah, so my name is Jessica Collins. I live at 2420 13th Street in Cuyahoga Falls. Thank you for having me today. I'm coming before the board to discuss my concerns with an action plan and resolution of an incident that occurred involving my daughter at Bullock Middle School. I am happy to describe the incident itself to provide clarity before I have my request for board resolution, but it will most certainly exceed the 3-minute time allotment. So, you know, if you wanted me to write that, if you wanted me to discuss it, you just let me know. But I would like to explain my purpose of being here today. I'm here to do my due diligence as a mother with a child on the autism spectrum, to do whatever I'm able to affect change, so that another child like Ava, my daughter, does not have to go through the same thing that she went through. I'm here to stress the importance of staff members to get thoroughly acquainted with their students' 504 and IEP plans. I'm here to express my pain and frustration and the fact that the staff that were involved were more interested in a tit-for-tat and looking for a loophole than taking accountability and working to make my daughter feel included and safe in her learning environment. And lastly, I'm here to inform the board that they do have members of their staff that would prefer to exclude spectrum children from their classroom, as opposed to adapting to make it a learning space for all. And from there, I'm hoping the board will plan to address and fix these systemic failures so that it doesn't happen to another student. So I don't know if you wanted me to discuss what occurred, but it would extend past the 3 minutes.
The policy allows you to have your 3 minutes, and we are not allowed to respond to you, so you can take the time.
So I guess I can get started. So to describe my daughter has been medically diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and sensory processing disorder. If you were to observe Ava without knowing her, you would see a girl that is just short of silent in school. She's excruciatingly shy, and she puts a pretty high wall up within a public setting. She won't be the one raising her hand, and she won't read aloud. You'll see her cover her ears to block out the dull roar of a classroom, which is noise that wouldn't even register to you and I. What you wouldn't see is a girl who's extraordinarily bright, who feels emotions and empathy very deeply. She's witty with a dry sense of humor and the ability to converse more succinctly than many adults. She does her best in school and at home, and she's the last kid you'll find going out of her way to break the rules. Ava's her hardest critic, giving herself very little grace and easily becoming discouraged when she isn't perfect, a trait often found within spectrum kids. Long story short, she's a great kid, and she's very easily misunderstood, which is why the incident that occurred was so detrimental to her, especially after all of the work that we put in at DeWitt. The staff at DeWitt were just phenomenal, and we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the staff at DeWitt. And for all of that work to kind of come to a crashing halt when we get to Bullock was very difficult.
If you want to email us, you're certainly free to.
Okay.
Please do feel free to. I think you have all our emails.
Yeah.
And that we did get that. I think
Okay.
everybody got the email correct? Okay, so
Awesome.
those are the
Okay.
right emails, and then we will have some follow-up with you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Number 2 is future agenda items. I want to mention at our April 10th meeting, Ms. Stoikoi is going to present on the levy cycle, because that is a piece that we had discussed before we got to our retreat. So that is coming at April 10th. And I don't know if there's anything else at this time. Okay. Number 3 is committee report, 612 construction core team.
Yeah, we had a meeting on the 7th, the early site, the aggregate piers are done, which I'm so glad, that is all complete.
You don't want to have to hear about them anymore?
No, the buildings are going pretty well, the floors are being poured in the 2nd and 3rd and so on, the masonry walls will be up, and they'll pour the concrete in building 2, which is the lower dining area. Building 3 also, the kitchen, the locker room, etc., structural steels going up in the dining room, the conduit, carpentry and drywall, framing, all that stuff. Plumbing, AC installed, and so as we know, they are on schedule, not ahead, which we keep asking, but you know, that's okay, at least they're on time. So Dominion Gas is working on Front Street. The road widening will be starting soon, and the retaining wall there and the wall to the stadium beginning in April. The turn signals, we're not sure of the timeline there. The furniture, they're getting it down, and I think Dr. Selico can talk about that a little more if she wants to. They're doing a few options, and then the department chairs will look at those, and then they'll go to the departments and engage with the staff, and they'll continue to look at those few options. The scoreboard upgrade, that is finalized, and the bids will go forward. The huddle camera, that is also in the works. Now we get to the board tour dates. Yay. I did get some dates. We could do the week of April 24th, 25th, or the 26th, or we could do the week before that on Monday or Tuesday, the 22nd or 23rd, because we do have some conflicts. There's the BOE meeting and then the art walk as well in there. So if you just let me know, I can tell them.
So it's just that 1 week.
Just the 1 week, sorry.
Well,
That
it
would
could be Monday or Tuesday, 22nd and 23rd, or 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th.
So that whole
So the
week.
whole week.
Is that the whole
have
week?
one more
Okay,
day.
I thought maybe that was,
Well, you know
I
what
don't
it
know
was?
what I'm thinking.
Mrs. White, the board meeting's on the 24th, and we have the art walk on the 25th, which is
Okay.
why it only left us with those 2 dates, really. The
Yeah,
22nd,
so we
23rd.
didn't wanna do
Yeah.
that at those dates,
It wasn't
so.
the best week.
Right, so just let me know which, so that would really take it down to the 22nd, 23rd, or the 26th.
Is this during the day or in the evening?
It would be in the, you know, like at 5 or whatever, I think. You know, they didn't say, but that we could probably be
Could be
best for
Monday.
us. Pardon me?
Can anybody do Monday?
The 22nd.
Monday would work.
The
Monday.
22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
22nd?
Monday the 22nd.
Let me write that
That
down
was easy.
so I don't forget.
Nice.
I don't like to do things on Friday night.
Monday,
And I'm
And
busy
is,
every other day. Already.
We do
Yay.
5:15,
5:30 work?
yeah, 5, I can ask. I'm sure they will.
Give us
5:30
Okay,
on the
so Monday,
22nd.
April
It's Earth Day and
22nd.
Passover.
5:30. And then I also have some interesting things here, which is really exciting, as well, that they gave me some ideas that we could do. I know, cool.
Oh, she gave
Oh.
me one.
I know, I know,
Alright.
I know. So, these are things that we could do if we'd like to, and they gave a timeline. these are some of the engagement opportunities. The beam signing, that could either be a big, huge beam that would be in the auditorium, the PAC. And we could, we could do it during the art walk, so that maybe, it'd be awful hard to get that one downtown or something, but, they can do other beams or whatever and have people sign them. So I think that is really neat and something that we could think about. The topping off ceremony, you can read this, but this is a flexible date and time. And this would happen during construction work hours and take place inside the fence. So it would only be like key staff members, administration, board members. And so that is just a private ceremony that occurs when the signature beams are placed into the actual structure. So it's kind of exciting. And then the community construction tours, they said August to October, but I said, well, I'd rather wait until the building is done before we actually, take the community through. I'm not against them going through, but I'd like to have them see it finished. So we can do both. So just let me know what you think, and we'll do what we can.
Are they gonna be able to get the core team through in the spring? Cause that was one thing that we had. The core team, I know the board's going. We'll
Yeah.
have our tour. Well, we had talked about trying to get the core team through in the spring. Did that get nixed, or is that still gonna?
Do you mean like the planning
Yeah,
committee?
the planning committee. Sorry, we had
The planning
we had so many different names. For
Yeah,
it.
I
Sorry,
know,
Ms.
I
White.
know.
Don't follow our lead, I think, Jill.
I didn't really bring that up.
I just know safety
because-
is a concern for a larger group, so I don't wanna.
I think it would be good when the building is finished, basically, but before we open it to the students, during that time where we would bring in the community and the planning committee team as well.
Well, usually you do like a hard hat tour and then like.
We
so
could do both.
Is this a hard hat tour that they're talking about?
I think that's what that.
Yeah, I would imagine it
I
would.
think if
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
if they think it's safe, I'm okay with
Okay.
it. As long as they say it's safe.
Yeah.
But I know we had talked about having the planning team get a tour this spring. I just wanna make sure that they give us the safety okay.
Yeah,
On
exactly.
a larger group of people.
Mr. Gomez, I can ask.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll accommodate. As long as it's.
I don't want it just to be a comment. I want the safety, okay? Like that they feel
When I say
confident
safety,
with the safe. Yeah.
I mean, they'll walk us through the whole safety aspect of it.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't have people in wheelchairs, we don't have people trying to walk.
Yeah.
Or infants, small kids that may walk, stuff like that. That's their only concern. They'll be able to,
And then the other piece I know Dr. Salga is working on is to try to get our 612 staff in if possible before school ends. I don't know if we can guarantee that, but I know Dr. Salga is trying really hard to try to make that happen because we really want to get them to get to start visualizing that because they are the ones that have to make it happen. So we'd like to give them that little
Yeah, we thought we'd do
vision.
a little tailgate kind of a thing, tour and a little, like a little picnic or something we were thinking
Yeah,
about.
so I think it's really important that they get to start visualizing that, cause it looks big, but then when you get inside, it's huge.
It is huge, it's huge. So, I will tell them Monday, the April 22nd at 5:30 for the board tour. And I will ask them, because we have a meeting when we come back after spring break, that first week of April. I'll ask about the PLC tour in the spring. And then if you let me know about the beam signing or the topping off and the community construction tours.
What are our thoughts, board?
Well, my thought with the beam signing, as far as like the students doing that might be would they be bringing students from other schools, or is this just walking the Bullitt kids over, so then only the Bullitt kids are getting to sign it? Those are pieces that I would wanna know.
Okay.
Because it's a 6 through 12 campus with all the students, so if only the Bullitt kids get to walk down there to sign the beam, just on a level. And if we were to do that, I think probably towards the end of school, like the last couple days of school would be good. My concern of having a beam sitting outside with a bunch of middle schoolers walking past it every day there may be some things written on
Yeah,
there that
we thought of
shouldn't
that.
be.
Right.
They said it would be
So-
behind a fence. We
Yeah,
had that
we
same
put it,
conversation.
yeah.
Fortunately, the beam will be hidden in the building regardless of what may or may not be written on it. It will, you know, not
That's
be,
just my first
not
thought
be
with middle schoolers,
visible.
So, and maybe some adults that come sign too, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, I think it's a cool idea. But if it's hidden in the building and no one's gonna see it afterwards too, is there another idea we could come up with of them doing something that's actually visible in the building afterwards, like commemorative?
Well, that's
People
what
know it's
the
there.
public art class is doing that
Yeah.
piece.
So I could go either way on beam signing personally.
I think we should do the beam signing, cause I think
I think
some
it'd be
people
fun.
know that it's a thing, so they
Okay.
expect it. It's like a natural piece.
Got it.
So I think there are people that know that it's part of a process.
I would just wanna make sure if the students are doing it, that
Yeah.
all the students
All
have
the
the
students,
opportunity.
yeah, I agree. I'll check with them on that.
I just, I don't know if you can move it around though, 'cause it's
I don't, it depends on how
Imagine
big it
it's
is.
very-
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
might be hard to move.
very.
But they said they could do a smaller beam instead of one that would be in the pack.
At least the
So, yeah,
Oh, yeah, those things are.
they're, yeah, they
Extremely
get
heavy.
really
Oh,
heavy,
yeah.
right.
Concept of that.
Oh, wasn't it tens of thousands of pounds or something they said? 40,000 pounds, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
We can
Imagine
carry that. We
Oh,
got it.
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'll get someone to help me.
Okay,
And
so,
then and I think community construction tours would be great, because I think
okay,
people are clamoring to get to see it.
yeah,
So
I think so
the
too.
sooner we can tell people that there is like a time, even if this is a general time frame, that folks will kind of be able to get in there, I think the better, because people really, really wanna get to see it and
I
see
agree.
what's going on the inside. I
I
mean,
think it would be fun.
yeah.
Okay, I will take that back.
for all three.
Thank you, Ms. White, we
yes for all
appreciate what you do.
I know, I think it's really neat. Yeah, it's fun. It'll be fun.
That's exciting.
Yep.
Athletics and Activity Council, Ms. Coco.
Yes, Ms. Schaefer and I attended, the meeting on March 11th, and, the big buzz was the scoreboards, the potential scoreboards at the new stadium and then inside the gym for basketball. And there's pictures, of digital scoreboards. The really cool thing is that they would be able to sell advertisement on them and more than pay for themselves. We know that our community is very giving in sponsoring, and those can change throughout a game. It doesn't just have to be the same three. They would also be able to put up and zoom in, on the band while they're playing, players and things like that, and put them up on the big screen as well. And also then the one that would be in the gym would be able to be used for physical education purposes as well and learning. So, which is really cool, where they can track their heart rates and things like that, while they're doing things. So, there's educational things that they can use them for as well. So these were some examples that were given to us, but they're pretty cool. And yeah, so that was the big discussion, was that. And then went over the winter sports recap, and you just picked this up somewhere, Mr. Gomez, which is awesome, with the winter sports awards, with all the things in there. So I'm not gonna go down the list of everyone, just a couple things. The boys bowling team is impressive. They missed going to the state tournament by 80 pins, but we did have a state qualifier, a sophomore, Justin Wagner, who went to a state tournament as an individual. And then we had Isaiah Lutz, who bowled a perfect game this year, and bowled 300.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't
That is.
even imagine doing that. I throw gutter balls.
I know, I do. Not good.
And then, of course, just highlight that our first boys volleyball team has started up here for the spring summer. The diving board will be installed this summer for diving, between July and August.
I told the
And-
diving coach and she was very excited. She was thrilled.
And yeah, when we have a lot of track kids. We have 51 girls and 32 boys doing track, which is a lot. So overall, we have an impressive sports program and a lot of kids participating specifically in the spring sports coming up. So another shout out, the weight room coordinator that we have, Mike. The numbers of squat averages, bench averages, and deadlifts that have gone up since he's been in there and implementing the program are, again, really impressive. And I don't understand a lot of that, but those kids are going in and actually coming out looking like athletes because they're in there and they have a program and they're guided in what they're doing and they're measuring all these different things that they're doing, which will help them in their sports. So it was kind of cool to hear about that too. That's all.
I talked to Dr. Salko about honoring some of our students that made it to states, because I believe we also had a middle school wrestler that competed at states as well. So.
Female wrestler go as
And
an
a
alternate.
female wrestler, so we wanna make sure we honor some of those students at a future board meeting as well for
Absolutely.
their accomplishments, cause that, it takes a lot of hard work and effort to get there, and we wanna make sure that we do our part to acknowledge, the work and the achievements that they made.
Absolutely. Oh, one more thing about these boards is they'd be able to partner with the media classes to program and run those and everything. So that's another tie into education and learning for our students. So.
Board Policy Committee will be meeting next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. in the Board of Education offices in the upstairs meeting room. Wasn't on the agenda because it hasn't been noticed yet because we just said it today, but a notice will go out. Business Alliance Council.
I'm going to defer to Dr. Salko on that one because Mr. Harris and I were both unexpectedly not able to be there. So.
Yeah, essentially we had a speaker come in from Jobs Opportunity JOG, and
for
so
our graduates.
yes, and so we really feel like there's some possibilities there. Our committee was interested in learning more. So next meeting we have another speaker coming in on our school links, which is another opportunity to kind of pair businesses and students, but yet we need to sort of figure out which path we want to take, because there might be some redundancy, even though they're a little bit different, but yet we just need to lock in on one path. So it was people had a lot of questions, so she actually ended up speaking longer than we anticipated, but then we were just able to kind of debrief on our career fair, and we had to end a little early, mostly because I had to be in another meeting, an unexpected thing that popped up. So, but that was really the focus, and we're going to meet again in April for that purpose, and then in May we're going to try to get back to Joshua's restaurant in Stowe for breakfast as a thank you to the committee.
Thank you. District Wellness Committee, Mrs. Schaefer.
We had our first meeting on March 14th. It was kind of an organizational meeting, like where do we want to go? What are our goals for the committee? We're supposed, according to policy, we're supposed to meet 4 times a year. So we set up 2 more meetings over the next couple months. We didn't really go over the board policy, but we split it up. They do an assessment. I guess there's 3 different assessments that they can use to assess the wellness policies, and one is kind of more vague and one's super comprehensive, and then the one in the middle is a little bit more comprehensive than the first one, but has usable goals, whereas the first one doesn't really. Am I saying, you think I'm saying that right? Okay. It was a lot of information. So we split off with our interests, or the things that, I guess our interests. So each one of us took a section of this wellness assessment. It's called the WellSat 3.0. I watched the video. There was a WellSat 2.0 and a WellSat 3.0. And we're at the 3.0. And it has 6 sections. So we either in pairs of 2 or singles to each section. And we're not assessing what our plans are, what we're actually doing in the district. It is, does the board policy address it? So does the board policy address it? If it's no, then it scores a 0. If it does, but maybe a little bit vague, it scores a 1. But if we have a policy that is comprehensive, it's a 2. So we'll go through there and I will report back. And I can't wait to dig into the policy. It's very exciting. No one was excited.
If we don't have a policy, then we need to create a policy. So this
Yep.
will kind of go hand in hand with the policy committee.
Because things have changed, like, and requirements have changed. I watched the video, so it started with the WIC reformation. That's how we got to the 2.0. And then, so each time things change, the policy and what we need to address changes. And I don't think it's really, these assessments aren't regulated. Like, they're not, I'm not sending these to the state and then they'll come and audit us. It's kind of a self-assessment tool at this point. So if we see that there's something that we're lacking, then we can maybe, I don't know how that's gonna go, cause we're still new. Maybe we can like work on something and maybe make a suggestion to the policy committee of what we wanna see in it, what we want to see come out and put back in and things like that. I'm very excited.
I will say, Mr. Schaefer reached out to me almost immediately and said, how do we initiate changing policies? Because I see that we will be needing to. So, we know that's coming down our pike to policy committee as they work on their work over in wellness committee, so.
Yeah, and so I don't have a lot of data, but I will. We'll meet on April 11th is our next, during the day. Will be our next meeting, and we're gonna go over kind of what our assignments were and where we wanna go from there.
Foundational Alumni Association, I was unexpectedly unavailable for that meeting. It was a bad day for board members, missing meetings, so it's the same day as Mrs. Lyons Council. Was there anything that needed reported out, Dr. Salka?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think what we talked about. There was a
I
lot.
know you were.
I was there.
Dr. Salka attended that for the record, that's why I asked.
I was virtual, yes. Gosh, I didn't come prepared with this one. Sorry. I am trying to think. I know. I know we spent, I could look back in my notes in here because I was recording some things. You recall? I'm trying to think.
Mostly probably just the scholarship process. I think they firmed that up last week.
We did.
Of who was receiving which scholarships. And you should have the date for that. If you don't have it, send me a
I'm sure
message
it's
and
on
I will
my
get the
phone
date
somewhere.
for you. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I do have it noted. So if you don't have the date for that scholarship reception, remind me and I will make sure I get that to you.
Yes, that was a
It's
topic. Oh, now it's coming back to me. That was a
Tuesday,
topic.
May 9th?
Yes, I believe that's the date. And we were
May
talking
9th.
about
That was
paying
last year. Sorry.
for that. I do have it. Yeah, I can look it up. And then we
It's the
talked.
second Tuesday in May.
We talked 8th, I think it is.
So yeah. Well, there's a leap
Oh, we have a
year.
board meeting that night. Oh, it's a
No, we
lot.
don't.
Oh, it's the 7th, May 7th.
Yeah.
It's the foundation
Leap
awards.
year. Leap year.
That's the first Tuesday in May.
Yes. It's,
Leap year. Blame it on the leap year.
but we talked about, I forgot, Mr. Smith did a presentation on the CTE, our 6th district compact, so that took up quite a bit of time. We did talk about the dinner, the scholarship dinner. We talked about, the addition of PTSO, at length about possibly, having their, scholarships run through the foundation. And, that was actually the bulk of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Legislative Liaison, Mr. Harris, did you have anything?
No real updates. Primary election's over. Yard signs are coming down, so representatives will be hopefully heading back down there to get to work. So.
Thank you. Student Achievement Liaison, Ms. White, was there?
I did, and we did mostly the one needs assessment and plan, which is step one in the Ohio improvement process. There are different strategy areas like college and career readiness, community family engagement, and so on. Basically, that will help us prioritize our needs and what the critical needs are, and then we can kind of figure out the goals and the plan from there. So I think that's basically where we kind of did, but it'll break down to the 5 whys and problem solving. So you break down the problem, understand the work and point of occurrence. So there's sections to finish, and the schools took their sections back to their building to complete those. So we'll probably get more on that later, I would imagine, when they're finished with those assessments.
Question for administration. When will that O&A be completed, the what needs assessment, like refresh or something?
April 31st.
Okay. Can we get that in some form? If it's electronic, that's fine too. I know it's kind of a lot to it. So, yeah. It's just a lot of good
There is a lot to it.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of good
it's-
information in there too, because it really kind of gives you a good snapshot of kind of what's going on with our district. So it'd be helpful information for us as well. Thank you, I appreciate it. Item 4, comments, Ms. White.
Yes, I want to congratulate the BOE team that took 3rd place in the Neotech Robotics. 8th grader Ariana Ruggles took 1st place in the maze. And a 7th grade team of Letha, Aiden, and Caden took 4th place in the mini sumo. I have no idea what that is, but I'm just so glad that they're doing so well. So congratulations to our robotics teams at the middle school. I also got to attend the musical Horizons Gold Tones on Friday night, and it was just fantastic. You begin with the middle schools and how they perform, and they're really good with the jazz bands and so on, but then you get to the high school and the jazz band in the morning, and those kids come in at 7 a.m. in the mornings twice a week, and they're just fantastic. Then you get to the ultimate, the Gold Tones, which has been around since I was a kid here. And it's just wonderful to see not only the progression of the music the kids do, but some of those kids are just fantastic on those instruments. They had a wonderful sax player. I don't know his name. A wonderful drummer, which is Brennan, and just they're wonderful. They were just all so good. It's just hard, but they just play their hearts out, and it was just amazing and so wonderful to see, and I'm glad I was able to attend. I can't go to much because I can't hear. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I did want to make Gold Tones because it's one of my favorites. So with that, I do have an article that Karen sent my way. This is an Ohio study that finds disproportionate rates of school discipline. And this kind of goes along with some of the things that we're doing on chronic absenteeism and so on. Researchers studying school discipline in Ohio found exclusionary school disciplinary measures that disproportionately impacted students of color, along with disabled and lower income children. The Children's Defense Fund Ohio released a 2024 State of the School Discipline in Ohio report analyzing measures like out-of-school suspensions, expulsions, saying the practices have been identified as factors contributing to Ohio's community to prison pipeline that puts far too many children and young people on a pathway to incarceration. The discipline rates for Ohio students are trending in the wrong direction, especially for our middle and high school students and students of color. In the report released March 12th, researchers found an increase in out-of-school suspensions and expulsions in every grade from kindergarten through 12th grade, from the 21-22 school year to the 22-23 year. Students who, and this is what really is scary, students who are economically disadvantaged comprised 83% of all out-of-school suspensions handed in Ohio public schools. The study mentioned the state's high chronic absenteeism rate as part of the issue plaguing school districts. The discipline cannot be separated from Ohio's alarming high chronic absenteeism rates, defined as any student missing more than 10% of the school year for any reason. Exclusionary punishments prevent students from accessing valuable in-person learning and essential services that support their overall well-being, further widening the gap for those who need those services the most. Overall, 26.8% of students in the state were chronically absent in 22 to 23. This data comes even after a 2018 law that prohibited the out-of-school suspension or expulsion of students from pre-K through third grade for minor offenses. And so that was phased in the 21-22 school year. Though the numbers of disciplinary actions in that age group has dropped since the enactment of the law from more than 31,000 occurrences down to 10,000 in this 21-22 school year, the researchers said the full intent of the act has yet to be fully realized. Citing ODEW data, the report found almost 2,000 exclusionary discipline occurrences for PK third graders for behavior that is not exempt. In 2022 and 23, the school year pre-K through third grade out of school suspensions and expulsions rose slightly to 12,025. In terms of overall school discipline causing absences, the Children's Defense Fund Ohio study found black male students were 4.3 times more likely to be suspended or expelled than their white peers, and black female students were 6 times more likely to be disciplined with suspension or expulsion than their white peers. Black students represented about 39.7 per 100 students, and disabled students accounted for 22.2 of every 100 students, and the economically disadvantaged saw 21.5 occurrences per 100 students. In 2022-23 school year, there were 174 total suspension or expulsion occurrences of students who qualify as economically disadvantaged, compared to only 35,000 of students who do not qualify. And that's really something and I know that we're working on this the chronic absenteeism, and I know we're looking at our graduation rates and discipline, but that economically disadvantaged, that is really something to focus on. You know, what do they need and what do they do? And one of the things we did was hire some social workers, which will help, I think, with that. If we continue to measure how well children surmount barriers rather than address the barriers themselves, we will continue to fall short in creating the supportive, safe, and welcoming environments that all children deserve. As part of the recommendations made in the CDF Ohio report, researchers said the 2018 law that prohibited suspensions and expulsions for pre-K through grade 3 students should be expanded to largely grades 4 and 5 and maybe the upper levels. Ohio lawmakers should expand the number of grade levels, especially to the elementary age students. Further funding for school counselors and other social and emotional supports were also listed as key items to improve exclusionary practices. I just thought that was a very timely article and interesting, and something that we are in our district trying to address. So, thank you.
Ms. Coco?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet tonight because I'm not feeling that well speaking. But I hope everyone enjoys spring break next week and the time off. And I know we focus a lot on all the different amazing events that happen in our comments, which rightfully so. We have so many amazing events. And after spring break, we've got the art walk, and we've got the musical Footloose coming up, and a lot graduation, and all these things that are happening. So tonight I just want to focus too on this point in time, looking back on how far we've come from the educational side for our students and how much work has been accomplished. And I know we have a long way to go, but I think we need to stop and celebrate how far we've come. And I'm very much looking forward to our board retreat in April as we look on what we've accomplished and set new goals for the future for this district. So, that's all.
Thank you. I am up next. I'm going to give a shout out to Meredith Mihailovich from a freshman here at the high school for opening the Tigers free clothing store here at the high school. I wasn't able to attend the opening, but I think that's just so amazing. She is such a self-motivated student, and for a freshman student to basically accomplish in part what is a district goal of opening a resource center is just outstandingly impressive. And I did discuss with Dr. Selko that I would like us to acknowledge her at a future board meeting because it's just a really great accomplishment. So we are very proud of her. I did want to know, I disagree strongly with many of the statements in the article. Ms. Whiterad, I do not agree with expanding what I believe is a very failed law in K3 suspensions. It is not working across the state of Ohio. And the only other thing I would say is, as to supportive and safe environments, our students have a responsibility also to provide supportive and safe environments for their fellow students and their staff members, and they do not always meet the muster in that as well. And sometimes it's their actions that lead to their suspensions or expulsions. Mr. Harris.
Yeah, real quick, just another congratulations to our top Tigers and Miss Harsh. Another, the staff award we give out is just another perfect example of all the layers to educating. And so, social workers, custodians, the folks we bring in here, secretaries, they're all part of that process. So I always enjoy that with top Tigers as well. I was able to attend the vendor fair last Saturday. Of course, it was the day I did not bring my little one with me. There were alpacas, the Easter Bunny, all the vendors, everyone who was involved, the PTSO. So thank you all so much for that. Always a good time. I also attended today the biography day at Lincoln Elementary School, which was my first time. It was just an incredible event. A little. Say it was overwhelming because there were just so many. I just wanted to go to every one, so I had to be mindful of my own time. But the kids did a fantastic job. The staff did a fantastic job. So I really appreciate the invitation to go visit them today. And then, as Ms. Coco said, I want to wish everyone a safe spring break, and we will see you all when you get back. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes, I was also able to attend biography day. I was able to get there a little bit before the other classes came in, so I got to make a full rotation before second grade came in. It did increase the volume in the room, but it was totally manageable. It was kind of a little bit impressive. There was 2 classes, a second grade and a third grade class, in one room, and I was able to hear the biographies. So that's and they were all talking, doing their little biographies. It was difficult to hear, but I could hear every single one of them. So that's kind of impressive just in itself. But they all had them mostly memorized. It was, I think, John Cena. That was one of my favorite ones. There was a Billie Eilish. There was a couple Taylor Swifts. And I was speaking to a student that went to Lincoln, who's now at the high school. And I was telling her about the biographies. And I was telling, there was a Billie Eilish, and she said, "Wait, they got to pick pop stars." She's like, "When I was there, I didn't get to do that." We had a list of people to do, and I said, "Well, that's how things have evolved."
Right.
And they were very excited about it. They got to dress like the person, and there was a lot of soccer players that I don't know who they are.
The Rock was really good. Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson was good. They had classic Dwayne Johnson in the mock turtleneck and the
Had a
fanny pack.
chain, and he had muscle stuffed under there.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And then I think it was yesterday I was able to attend they call it Coffee Chat, OSBA, and it was called It's a Balancing Act, and it was about how the laws changed about marijuana, and it was talking about what the law is, what it doesn't do, And, one of the things, oops, I'm in the wrong thing. Hold on 1 second, sorry. I closed it up. What does the law say to employers? And it just talks about, as employers, you are not forced to, allow marijuana use. We have federal employees that it's not legal federally, so, people that have like CDLs and federal employees and then they also talk about the Bureau of Workers' Compensation and how they have, incentive programs to have a drug-free workplace, so you are still allowed to do that even though, the law isn't completely written yet. It passed, but it's in the House for revisions, I think. So it was a very complex, I didn't know what I was expecting when I went into it, but I knew it was gonna be a good conversation, so it was interesting. I would go to another one if they had part two.
Thank you. Item J is an executive session. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Codes, Section 121.22G1, is hereby moved the board adjourn to executive session to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee or official. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. There will be no action after executive session. Please call the roll.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
We'll be in executive session at 7:57 p.m.